What's up guys, it's Aaronitmar, and today it's time for me to break out Photoshop once again and make some costumes and colors that honestly should be or could be in Smash Ultimate. I did a couple videos like this months and months ago, but with both the Banjo and Terry Recolor videos, you guys seem to really like it, so I thought that I would bring it back for yet another round for the entire cast rather than upcoming DLC characters. So let's jump into it. First, I made a color for Luigi based on the Smash 64 and Melee Fire Luigi color. Honestly, all I did was change the little logo area to be yellow instead of white because that's really the only difference between the two. I kind of prefer Fire Luigi to the weird one with the yellow logo, but I thought, let's just see how it looks. And I mean, it looks about how you would expect it to look. But the more exciting Luigi color is, of course, Mr. L, which I'm honestly surprised isn't in Smash at this point. Now, I'm not too entirely happy with this Photoshop. I mean, parts of it are really good, but then there's stuff like the belt that just kind of doesn't look right. And that's of course because this is much harder than just a simple recolor, but I did the best that I could with the tools that I know how to use without actually having to do real art rather than just recoloring. And I think it turned out pretty decent. And I'm honestly, like I said, surprised that Mr. L isn't in Smash Ultimate because he just seems like the perfect alternate costume. I just really wish he was in the game. I don't know what else to say. Next up, we have Ash Hat Pikachu based on the hat that Ash wears in the first few seasons of the anime. Now, when it comes to the main series Pokemon games, there isn't too much reference to the actual anime. Smash kind of breaks this rule because a lot of the personality of the Pokemon characters comes from the anime rather than from the games, because in the games they are a little bit more static, but in the anime they do, have their own personalities and, certain things that just sort of make them shine a little bit more than in the games. But the 7th generation of Pokemon has actually broken this anime rule, and they've included several references to the anime that make it sort of canon in the actual main series titles. First was Ash Greninja, which was a special form, as you can tell by the name, that was only in the anime and was based on Ash's relationship with his Greninja, but they brought over a special Greninja that has the ability to turn into that form in the games. And that's now reflected in Greninja's final smash because he now turns into Ash Greninja during that whole animation. And then of course the Ash Hat Pikachu was the second reference. They made a whole series of event Pikachu with every single hat that Ash has worn throughout the entire anime, and they released them as an event, and you were able to have them in your actual game. And so now that we actually have them in a main series title, it makes sense to have that reference in Smash, and so that is entirely why I made this. I would be honestly fine with any of the hats, but I think the first hat is the most iconic, which is why I made that. Next up, we have a few that I'm going to run through really quick. First up, we have Blue DK, which has not been seen in Smash since Melee. Smash 64 and Melee had this blue color, but Brawl and Onward replaced it with a purple color, so I made the blue one again. Then we have Flying Mario from the Galaxy series. When he picks up one of the special red stars, he gets the ability to fly, and his colors turn black and red like this, kind of based on the actual star that he picks up. So I went ahead and made it. Obviously, Mario has missed out on quite a few different color schemes that he's had across all of his games in Smash, and now that is kind of reduced because he has Wedding Mario and Builder Mario instead of different colors, so it's fun to make different Mario colors. Next, we have Sephiroth Cloud, which for all intents and purposes, I just turned his hair from blonde to white. If we were going for a full costume, obviously there would be different things to do, but if we're just going for the color scheme reference, he kind of already matches Sephiroth except for his hair, so turning it from blonde to white kind of just finishes the entire reference. Okay, next up we have Evil Ryu, and this is an alternate form that Ryu can take in the Street Fighter series. He actually is his own character rather than just a color scheme, but in Smash I feel like that would be a little bit over the top, so it would be cool to just have an Evil Ryu color scheme. He actually has this weird scar or open wound on his chest, which if they were going above and beyond, then they would definitely add that to a potential Evil Ryu costume. But color scheme wise, all he really needs is glowing eyes, red hair, and an all black gi. Next, I had a lot of fun with Young Link. We haven't seen Young Link in a long time in Smash, but Brawl mods have done a ton for him, and so they kind of gave me some inspiration, so I just wanted to make some Ultimate style renders based on some of the Brawl mods that I've seen. So first, I gave Young Link the Razor Sword and the shield from Majora's Mask, rather than the Kokiri Sword and the Deku Shield. I know that Young Link specifically is from Ocarina of Time, but I feel like Young Link is better summarized and better represented by his appearance in Majora's Mask. I know a ton of people have wanted him to have a Mask moveset or masks involved at all, but Sakurai didn't want to change the moveset too much to disappoint the Young Link fans from the past games, so we just got basically a Young Link, or a Link clone, what he was like in Melee. So I feel like having the sword and the shield that are from Majora's Mask kind of splits the difference a little bit. You still have the old moveset, but at least now he's got some Majora's Mask references in there. And to follow up with that, I gave him a Fierce Deity color scheme or costume. It's more of a costume because it does change quite a bit about his face. I think it's really ironic that in Smash, both the Links that have had official Fierce Deity costumes were not the Links that actually turned into Fierce Deity Link. In Smash 4, Twilight Princess Link had a Fierce Deity costume, and in Ultimate, Breath of the Wild Link has the Fierce Deity costume. And while Breath of the Wild Link does have the option to look like Fierce Deity Link because of the amiibo compatibility, he's not the one that actually turned into Fierce Deity Link. Young Link is, so it seems very strange that Young Link doesn't have Fierce Deity as a reference at all. So I kept the Majora's Mask shield. I gave him the color scheme of the Breath of the Wild Fierce Deity Link. And then I gave him a very small version of his Fierce Deity sword. Obviously, I think this would be a little weird because in the games, the Fierce Deity sword is a two-handed sword, so making it a one-handed sword does look a little bit weird, but I feel like it looks fine. It would be cool to see if they were going to make this an official costume, but since this is fan-made, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want, and it looks cool. And lastly for Young Link is Ravio. Ravio is Link's alternate universe counterpart in A Link Between Worlds, and while Young Link isn't the Link from A Link Between Worlds, he, I think, looks closest, so I just designed a color based on this. Honestly, all I did was make his hair purple. That's the only real big difference, other than the purple tunic, because that's pretty much what Ravio looks like. And I don't know, it's interesting that Low Rules, Hilda, and Ravio both have 0 references in Smash, so I figured I made Hilda in a previous video, so I need to complete the reference and make Ravio for one of the Links. Next, we have a pair of Sonic Recolors based, of course, on Shadow and Silver. Both of these color schemes kind of exist already in Smash, but the shoes, the eye color, none of that is exact because Sega has some kind of vice grip hold on what Sakurai can do with the color schemes. So I changed the shoes, I changed the eye color, and I just made it a better reference. And then of course we have Megaman. Now Smash Ultimate reduced every character to have 8 costumes, even though Little Mac, for example, had 16. And Mega Man's another one that honestly could have like 30 costumes or something because of all the different color schemes that he's had across all of his games. There are so many cool ones to choose from that it's a shame that we only have 7 additional ones aside from the default color. So I made a few. There's like a lime green one, there's a couple pink ones and a couple orange ones, and they're just sort of interesting colors that stood out to me on a full color scheme reference sheet, but there's just so many to choose from. A lot of them do overlap, but there's just so many there that I feel like I said you could have like 30 costumes for Mega Man and have unique colors for all of them. And lastly, another full costume that we should have is, and lastly, another full alternate costume that we should have in Smash is Naked Link and Naked Mario from Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild Link has that's sort of his default appearance when he wakes up, and it's not really Naked Mario, it's Swim Trunks Mario, but he doesn't have a shirt on, and that's one of the alternate costumes from Mario Odyssey. So those should both be in Smash. Now that would be very difficult for me to do, so I went ahead and made these, and I think they're perfect as is. They should be put into the game directly from my concept art. There should be 0 change to them. I think they should be added, and Sakurai should honestly hire me as a concept artist and a 3D modeler. So Sakurai, you will be receiving a resume in the mail very shortly.